What's happening, guys, and welcome back to another Sunday Scan. We have a very good episode coming up with Emil. So Emil is in the Investors Underground chat. He's been a moderator there for a very long time. He's on the morning broadcast, and he has some great trading insights. He's had a very diverse, background and style. He was, more of an investor, over a decade ago. Probably more than that now, and then switched to more a swing trader. He does small caps, he goes long, short, he gets involved in options. So he's just a great person to talk about the market in general, and we'll see what he has on watch. And then we just dropped a new Trading Takes episode with Ariel, talking about, sectors. And, Ariel is just a fantastic trader. He has so much market knowledge. And for him to be able to basically walk through how he spots sectors, some, best practices and tips for that, make sure that you check out that episode. And especially in the current environment where you have just money rotating from one sector to another sector, having that information can make a huge difference with your trading. So let's bring on Emil and talk about what we have on watch for the week. Okay, we're happy to have Emil back on Sunday Scan. Emil, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris.
Definitely. So there's a bunch that I want to pick your brain about. I want to talk about the market. I want to see what you have on watch for the upcoming week. And it should be a pretty action-packed week. We have, some big tech earnings. We have things like Apple, Tesla, and then we also have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday, which should provide some guidance. So I think we're going to have plenty of action, not just in large caps, but in small caps as well. So what have you been seeing in this market? What have you been trading? What's been working?
Yeah, well, I'm mostly looking for, after election, I was looking for more follow through in the market. I was expecting a little bit of exuberance in all these movements. And I think we kind of having it. So I was looking at anything that had a base or at least went sideways when the market was pulling back before the elections. So I was looking at all these names that potentially has something to gain from these elections. I was looking obviously at the technology sector, which been pretty strong. And obviously after the election, they had some follow through, and still looking there. Most of the trades I did been mostly positioning. So I'm trying to build a position on all these names that I'm watching, and we are going to go over them in a few, but also trying to collect some premiums by writing puts all along. So that's my view on the market for the moment. Obviously trying to be patient. Obviously we have some extended names that might be good to have a pullback, like Tesla. I like Tesla a lot, but still considering it's up quite a lot. So trying to wait for a decent setup. I'm looking for some sort of a contraction after the run we had in the past few months, I would say. And few other names I'm watching. For instance, I was looking at PLTR, which had a long position but sold it on Friday, and right now looking like we might have a rejection, at least short term. So I'm spread pretty much all across the board on small caps and all these swings I'm having, but mostly looking for anything that could give a decent risk reward in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like a lot of these, post-election names, they're waiting for the next catalyst. So things like Tesla, which, had a lot of things going for it. Okay, it had its huge run. Now it's consolidating. Now it has earnings coming up. So I feel like that's going to be the next switch to determine, okay, next leg higher, or was this a lot of this more hype, and then this is going to, drop and then consolidate further. And the same thing with Apple. Apple's already come down a good amount over the last month or so. And so it's like, okay, now you're testing some support, but now what? You need the next catalyst to make a decision there.
Exactly. I've been looking at Apple. Also, I like Google a lot, and Google, in terms of, from technical perspective, looks much better, and also strong foundation. It's going sideways right now. So we shall see if there is going to be any follow through in the next few days. But as long as these setups build up and hold the trend, I'm personally just trying to go with the trend and not trying to be the smart one, and try to anticipate anything. So most of these setups, obviously, they are not baked, but we are waiting for the trigger, and then we shall see if there is going to be any follow through in the next few weeks, let's say, at least.
Definitely. Okay, so before we get into the main watches, I'll give the disclaimer that neither of us are financial advisors, and these are not buy or sell recommendations. All this is for informational and educational purposes only. So let's bring up some charts and let's see what you have on watch for the upcoming week.
So yeah, mostly have these names. So I really like Baba from a fundamental perspective. Also, it's quite difficult to trade this one if you have a day trading approach or you try to nail, because as you can see, it's pretty choppy at times. It's gapping up, gapping down, so it's not a clear trend right now. But what I like the most, beside fundamental aspect, which is quite solid, I like the fact that has a huge base, and this base, as you can see, it's almost 2 years old from 2020, 2022. I'm sorry, and it's not out of the woods yet. But since it's above 200 SMA and found some sort of support here and some sort of a base, I'm expecting to see more follow through in the next coming weeks. But this, in order for this one to be really appealing to the public, I would say is we would like to see a break of 120. So right now it's more an anticipation, if you want, but personally, I'm looking to build a position at these levels and really need more confirmation. But from where we are today until 120, it's a sort of long way to go, and that would be something that would make a change in this trend. This is similar with the WLO. If you want, as you can see, huge base went above 20 SMA, and then they had a catalyst here, which basically broke this resistance and then never looked back since. And I have this one on radar because on Friday had a big breakout again. So all these setups, if you want, they need big shift in dynamic, and this one, it's usually brought up by some sort of a news or catalyst that can change the trend. So that's basically what I'm expecting on Baba. Another name I really like, it's Doku. Same thing here, big base, broke out right now, had a pullback, and right now it's building up here into this area. I'm going to really monitor it in the next few days, see if it's going to break out, and it's going to put another leg up. But in order to have a good average, definitely would be nice to see a bigger pullback. And when I'm talking about these are mostly position trades for me. So in order to have a decent entry for a long term, which I believe they have a big potential of these companies, need to give a decent pullback in order to build up. But if it's going to build up here, definitely I'm going to throw some darts and really want to be there. But also what I like to do on this type of trades is buying a position here, and then sometimes I'm writing puts because that's basically where I would like to go. So that's the average I would like to have on this stock. So when I'm looking to buy puts on this type of trades, it's mostly because that's where I want to get in. So sometimes, as we've seen with Tesla, you are looking for a pullback, and you never get it. So in this way, it's my insurance that even if the trend is just going higher, I'm still collecting some premium. So that's the idea behind it. So that's why I'm trying to position myself this way. Now, coming back to this one, I would really like to see some breakout here. Then, like I said, Google. We have Microsoft, which definitely needs more day to unfold, but I'm going to keep it on radar. Path, it's another company that I really like. It's building up, and right now it's testing 200 SMA. It's still below that, but I like the fact that it's going sideways for a while now, and the risk reward, it's pretty good here. So I'm really interested in this company. I really like it. So same thing here. We shall see if the momentum is going to kick in or not, but definitely on radar for long term for me. Same goes to Pan. Again, building up here. I'm going to watch earnings soon, so this might be a catalyst to break this range, and then maybe a shift in the trend if that catalyst is going to be positive. PLTR, Palantir. This one, like I said, it's similar with the way I see or the way I've seen PLTR, because I've been long this one for a few days now, and I sold it on Friday, like I said. And now, since went all the way up and hit the supply here and closed pretty weak on the day on Friday, I'm going to be interested for a reversal here. So at this point, I would like to see an early push towards 80 plus, and then risking yesterday's highs for a short. Now, this setup to me, it's very similar with what Apple has right now, as we discussed. Breakout, or at least a big run, and now coming back here, shaking up the tree, and then maybe it's going to resume to another leg up. We shall see. Obviously, right now, nothing here. Really needs a few more days, maybe catching up with this moving average, and then have a breakout here. That would be something I'm interested in. Then I'm having Roku, which is same old setup like I've been talking, looking for a breakout here. Again, earnings soon, so I'm going to wait for that and see if manage to break these levels, and we shall see the volume there. But definitely something that I'm interested to be joining. Then looking at TAGR, which mostly is going to run with China names like JD, which had a nice bounce, or PDD. Again, all these names that kind of hold for the time being, but still in the chop fast here. So it's not a really clear trend for now, but definitely something to keep an eye on it. Unity, again, same thing here, coming off from a big base. I like the fact that it's catching some momentum here. So any shift in a trend, as you can see, all these companies have catalysts soon. So we shall see if there is going to be something or not, but definitely are on radar for me in the next coming days. Obviously, I have few other small caps I'm watching, for instance, NVNI, which been a multiple day runner in the past, and yesterday being pretty resilient. We shall see if tomorrow, on Monday, I'm sorry, it's going to gap up or not, but definitely watching this one. But again, like I always say in broadcast, on all these things that have a huge range, don't have to be the first in, or to fight the trend, because giving the range, there is a lot of meat on the bone. So no reason to be a hero. And when the backside it's going to install, and it's going to be much easier to spot the weakness and then try to join the backside from there. So more or less, this is what I'm going to watch in the next few days and in the next week. Obviously, multiple earnings in the next coming weeks. So I'm going to mostly wait for those and see if there is going to be any shift in the trend or not.
Excellent. And yeah, you talk a lot about, those big bases, forming, and then basically looking for something to build over those levels. And I know that we recently had a Trading Takes episode with Ariel, and he talked about the bigger the base, the bigger the breakout. And it's more like, if you have a multi-year base, if you have all the volume down there, once it starts to break out, it almost starts to behave like a new all-time highs breakout, because all the volume's already down there. So regardless of what is to the left of that huge base, you really have a new start ahead of it. But a lot of times they need good catalysts.
Exactly. So that's the way I'm looking at this. And obviously, most of these companies are solid companies. So given the fact that I'm planning to swing them in the near future, then it's not just the base. So there is a solid base there fundamentally, and then I'm waiting for the catalyst and then a technical breakout. So that's the way I'm seeing this, given the fact that I'm planning to be in them for the next year or so. So the bigger the base and the breakout, like you said, it's the better, and that's why I'm looking and at all these companies from this perspective, with a longer term view.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, it's not something that we talk about a whole lot, but, with on the fundamental side, really what that means is it's looking for companies that they might be at a baseline, but something changes. They either have revenue growth, they have earnings growth, they have better positioning in the market. The sector is getting more money inflows. There's usually multiple things that kind of come together that make this company on the whole better than it was over the last period of time. So you're waiting for those pivots or those factors to come together, and then when you have the fundamentals and the technicals and the catalysts and everything else, then that creates a really nice move.
Absolutely. And this is very similar with what happened. Obviously, if you're looking at most of these charts I went through, all of them are right now, it's you never know, right? So it's they are not ready, but obviously sometimes I'm taking a dabble just to be present there. So I'm taking a small trade and then I'm waiting for some sort of a confirmation to add more. But this is very similar with what happened with SoFi, for instance, right? So nobody wanted at that base, but the moment broke the base, it just went up. Same thing happened to Robinhood. Big base breakout. Right now, they are just grinding and grinding. Same thing happened with Palantir. Big base for a while, nobody was there. The moment they broke out, everybody wants in. You don't have a chance to have a decent pullback. So it's a little bit of anticipation if you buy stocks like Baba, for instance, right now. Obviously, nobody knows when they are going to break out or if they are going to break out to the upside. But the moment they are going to do that, obviously, there is going to be more attention. Breakouts are going to bring more people in a trade, so that it's going to fill up the breakout and potentially the upside momentum. So that's in a nutshell what I'm looking for or what I'm aiming for these type of setups.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a couple of my watches. I'll just run through these, pretty quickly. So some of the quantum names: RGTI, IONQ. A lot of these have had, they had the huge run up, the huge correction, and now I think that this might be in the process of basically like a clear out on the daily. So we talk about, if this were a small cap and this were showing a chart inside of one day, you would see this pattern all the time where it's a huge run up, a huge crack, and then it basically just runs back up, exhausts out all the people that were short again, and then you could potentially have a move back down. So there's a couple things to keep in mind here. I think that this is still holding a trend on the lower side here. So if this starts to hold in base, it could have another move up and maybe exhaust out some more. But when you see candles like this is typically a sign when you've already had the big drop and you have a comeback and you have a giant rejection candle here. I look to see if the volume starts to change and starts to become a little bit lower. And one thing with the quantum sector is that for the last 2 months or so, or 3 months, as these have been really running, they were kind of one of the only games in town. So they were like the hot sector. They were the main focus. And now you have that spread out again. So now you have like these small modular nuclear reactor names that are catching a bit again. And some of these other names, like Emil was mentioning, China. And so you have a lot more sectors popping up. And so that can take some attention away from some of the other sectors. So I would see if on Monday, or sometime over the next week or so, this continues to exhaust out into a level, and then, maybe the volume dries up and it starts to fade. And then the next name that I have on watch is, IONQ, very similar idea there, where you have the big run up, the big crack, and then you basically have a giant clear out move. And a clear out move just basically means that, when you have a lot of people, both long and short, participating in a range, it's kind of getting one group shaken out. And so if you have, shorts that were in here and doing well, they get all, shaken out as this runs up. And so you can have the position become a little bit more long heavy again. And so that's really what a clear out move is. So if it's exhausting out into a level and it's more long heavy and the volume starts to change and people start to, take their money elsewhere, then that's when you can have some really nice fades in names like this. And then QUBT, kind of similar as well. So OKLO, so these are the small nuclear names. So basically, there was a giant AI infrastructure bill that was, or not a bill, but a giant AI infrastructure initiative that was started, $500 billion over the next 4 years. We'll see if that actually comes through or not. You have companies like Oracle and NVIDIA and a lot of others that are going to get some benefits from this. And a big theme that they've been talking about are these small modular nuclear reactors, basically helping to power those data centers as they get built. So this company, OKLO, this has an investment from Sam Altman of OpenAI. And so I think not only do you have the sector, but you also have the positive ties with some of the big tech people. So basically assuming that they will want their own companies to be the infrastructure for what they need for the data center. So OKLO and some of these other names like SMR and NNE as well. I think those are all a hot theme right now. And so what I'd be looking for is basically when we have these super hot sectors, you have giant runs and then usually around big expirations, if they're options driven, which they're not always, or if they get overextended enough, you have those big runs and then they basically have a nice reversal. So it's just the opposite of like a big, panic that you buy. So like with the quantum names, if we go back to those for a second, it's kind of the opposite of something like this, where you have something going instead of parabolic to the upside, parabolic to the downside, it eventually exhausts out and has that big bounce. And you can have that with the nuclear names, big exhaustion up here, and then eventually they can have that big mean reversion trade back down. So those are on watch. Tesla earnings coming up. You can see really nice trend over the last 6 months or so. And then, we'll see if this is consolidating and then they have earnings. So that will be a big determinant. And then you also have the wild card where, Trump at any point could say that, full self-driving or some of these other things that are really impactful for Tesla could, change some of the fundamental side as well. Apple earnings coming up. It's finding support right here. But again, it's all about what happens next. And so the earnings will basically tell us, some of the things that we've been seeing about Apple that have caused this correction, like slower iPhone sales in China and some other things. We'll see if that is falling to their bottom line, if that's, falling to their earnings, falling to their sales, or if that's a smaller part of their business. And maybe this was a little bit overdone. So that will be on watch for earnings. Coin, I like this for relative strength in the crypto sector. And I like MSTR's relative weakness in the crypto sector. So what we've been seeing is that, as Bitcoin runs and makes new highs and everything, and some of the Trump administration is talking about making, crypto a national reserve in some capacity, whatever it is probably, not super impactful right now, but coin has been very bid for the most part as kind of just a toll collector on crypto activity as a whole. So as crypto activity and trading and everything is increasing, Coin collects a piece of that. And with MSTR, the reason why it has some relative weakness is because Michael Saylor has been, talking about issuing shares and diluting and everything. So when you have Bitcoin stalling out and they're diluting, you can have a good relative weakness situation. And then Meta, beautiful, base and trend here. And they just announced that they're going to be doing a bunch of capital expenditures. And as long as they can have a positive return on investment on that CapEx, then this can ramp. But we will find out more about that with their earnings on the upcoming week. And then DJT, relative weakness. I think that, after the election, a lot of the hype was in the market, and then the Trumps released their meme coins. And I think a lot of the money that was kind of hanging around DJT using this as a proxy started to go into that. And then those haven't been doing as well. So I think that this could have a nice leg down if it breaks underneath the support, and maybe we'll test this lower bound here. So that will be on watch for puts for me for the following week. And then the final one I have is PDD, just like Emil had. Really the sentiment going into the election, everything was, negative on China, the tariff news coming and everything like that. And a lot of that was justified, but now you have a change of tone. And I think what's happening is that Trump wants China, to be on good terms with it so he can end or try to end some of the conflict in Ukraine. And so I think that for the time being, while he needs them to kind of help him out with that, he's going to be more positive on China, and that could be a big relief for some of those Chinese companies. And then maybe once that's done with, maybe he talks about bringing the tariffs back on once he's in a more strategic position. But those are the main names that I had on watch for the upcoming week. And again, you have a plan, you have names on watch that are in play, but so much of it is just going to determine what is the news, what is the catalyst, what are the earnings, and that will determine a lot of the trade plan.
Yeah, great watch list. And I've seen a few of the names I'm having also on radar, also like Meta, looking pretty strong and pretty good so far. So again, looking for more upside, no reason to, what's funny to me, it's because for like 2 years, we've been calling for bears. Mostly in my Twitter feed or X feed, a lot of people are calling for bears. It's hard landing. And right now we are switching towards, we are going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which makes me think, okay, this might be sort of a close to the top, or maybe it isn't. We never know. So definitely the consensus, it's always too late at the party. And if the setup is there, if the momentum is there, then just go with the flow. And that's basically what I'm doing. Try to not position myself the other way around. And as long as we are going to have hot sectors, shift the attention there and try to capitalize on those opportunities. So it's always something around the corner. It's up to us how we position ourselves. And if we want to be close-minded and just, it has to do something, that's the worst thing can happen to us as a traders or investors. And that's why it's important to have an open mind and look at the things as they are. And if everything it's doing great and the market it's going higher and the setups are there, risk reward is there, it's just good to go. It's because even myself, sometimes, you start to wonder yourself, okay, I'm not going here because there are some issues somewhere. So you miss the opportunity. And I think that's something that happens to all of us. But the more open-minded you are, the better on this type of trades and environment, obviously.
Totally agree. And last week we had Nick on, and he was, really telling people that you need to be nimble, you need to be agile in this market. And, you can have not only the news change, you can have the fundamentals change, you can have things change on headlines and as things come together. So there's no use having a super stubborn bias on stuff. And especially when you have names that are running like, even the small caps of 500%, 1,000%, if you're stubborn and you refuse to recognize what is happening, you can get on the wrong side in a big way. So you need to be flexible you definitely need to be flexible in this market.
Absolutely. Even if you are looking, we are looking at Tesla, for instance. Not everybody likes Elon, right? So it is what it is. Or you don't have to believe everything what Elon has to say. But and then some people, they do not invest in Tesla because they don't like Elon. But if Tesla position itself in a good manner and the risk reward is there, we are here to make money, not to be to calling tops or bottoms or to be right. So this is something that some people has to learn. Like you said, be open-minded, don't try to be stubborn, don't get over biased, just go with the flow. So trading vehicles, that's what they are, most of these stocks. So if you're here to make money, then try to be open-minded and just take it as it is.
Definitely. Well, Emil, thank you so much for joining on Scan. You had some great watches, some great commentary, and we will see you in the room in the week ahead.
Thank you very much, Chris. See you soon.
See you soon. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to trade live alongside me and other members of the Investors Underground community, then check out investorsunderground.com to see if becoming a member is the right decision for you. They have some of the best technology and a lot of great members there, all looking to help other people improve their trading. And also check out Investors Underground content on YouTube and Twitter. Thank you.